and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video I would like to talk about Tomorrow by Together's comeback announcement, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the information we have so far and what we can expect from the upcoming release. Now on September 21st, Big Hit announced Tomorrow by Together's comeback with a small teaser that shows us the logo of the Dream Chapter Eternity morphing into a new one. The title of the new project is gonna be Minisode1 Blue Hour, and it's gonna be a mini album coming out on October 26th. So far, very little information is available about the comeback, but in the official announcement Big Hit released a few days ago, the company defined the concept of this album as refreshing. And even if this definition is as vague as it can be, if we consider the new logo and the title of the new project, we can actually find new clues about the comeback as a whole. Now, as we already know, Eternity was the last installment of the Dream Chapter trilogy, but the fact that the first series is over now doesn't mean that the story they are telling us will end anytime soon, because as the boys themselves have stated, the storyline will continue in the new era as well. Right off the bat, this is important because this information implies that everything we've seen so far does indeed count as a possible clue for what's to come. And as it turns out, the design of the new logo is already very telling because it brings us right back to the game concept that was already shown in the runaway Japanese MV. Now, if you watch my video about Eternally, then you know that my main theory about the TXT universe is that when Subin brought back the dice from his journey into the Maze of Nightmares, he accidentally released the game they were playing as children into the real world, thus unleashing the magic in reality and transforming himself and the others into the unsuspecting characters of a game that resets every time that they lose. If I'm actually right about this, then everything we've seen on screen could actually be seen as a mix between reality and dream. And this is because the game itself is the manifestation of the magic world that they created where they were playing as children and that now has become real. Since in Eternally we saw Subin holding a 20-faced dice, the structure of this game seems to have been inspired by table RPG games like Dungeons & Dragons. But since it's set in reality, the setting is more complex than a table game, and this is where Runaway Japanese version comes into play. Because back in that video we saw the boys literally going inside a game land and coming back as glitches. The final scene of Yuninkai glitching here heavily implied that them using magic to access the game actually caused the game reality to enter our world. And this brings us right to the Minisode1 logo, where we see the pixels of a Tetris-like game breaking down in order to spell the name of the group. Now, even if the logo heavily recalls the vibe and concept of the Japanese Runaway, the real hint here can actually be found in the Dream Chapter Magic concept trailer, where we saw the boys exploring this new magical reality as the world itself transformed around them. Much like the teaser of Minisode1, the Magic concept trailer showed us that the boys' reality was created out of square pixels that once put together would form different locations. And this is important because this callback could actually be a clue that the upcoming album may dive into the game reality that was hinted at up to this point. Since the new series is called Minisode, this title could mean that in the next comebacks we'll see mini episodes of the boys exploring this reality and the magical abilities that they acquired because of that. And as we see in a second, Blue Hour could also confirm this to be true. You see, if we look at the dictionary definition of what a blue hour is, this expression relates to a moment of the twilight where the sun is already below the horizon in a way that the sky turns into a vivid tone of blue. Since the blue hour can either be at dusk or at dawn, however, so far it's difficult to point out which part of the timeline this comeback will focus on, because if we consider Can't You See Me as the metaphorical night of the story, that is, as the darkest moment of the storyline up to this point, then Blue Hour could either come before this moment or right after, which is basically what the pre-sequel hinted at when it first came out. If we keep in mind that in the pre-sequel the lighting has a warm tone, however, this doesn't really fit with the Blue Hour, especially if we consider that the new concept will be refreshing and not dark or dramatic. So my guess here is that this comeback will focus on the moment in time where the boys discovered the magic and actually have fun with it before everything turns bad. If you look closely, even if the logo recalls both the Dream Chapter Magic trailer and the Japanese Runaway, the new design is not the only detail that hints at these eras, because Blue Hour could also be seen as another version of Magic Hour, which is the title of Tomorrow by Together's Japanese album that includes Runaway, but also the time where magic enters the boy's life in eternally. Back in that video, the magic hour strikes at 9 3/4, and in the Japanese Runaway, this magic not only is blue, but it's also contained in a drink. Which, I don't know about you, but to me, it definitely fits the refreshing concept of the album. Since we know that magic enters reality in eternally, my guess is that Blue Hour will either be an alternative timeline to Runaway, or it will be set at some point after Eternally but before Magic Island, thus showing us the literal Blue Hour of the story, that is, the moment in time where they're still in control of the magic and they have the chance to play with it in their new reality. Considering that on Weverse, Taeyeon actually said that the sky looks perfect and Yeonjun actually compared it to cotton candy, my guess is that the comeback could actually have a soft, dreamy vibe that explores the magic that brings them together. But for now, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!